Crazy Jeff Bezos' $180 million mansion. Beverly Hills State. Jeff Bezos appears to be compiling a massive Beverly Hills compound. Back in February, the Amazon CEO purchased a Warner estate, a piece of Hollywood history belonging to billionaire David Geffen. The $180 million sale broke a record for the most expensive home sale in California state history. In this video we are going to take a look inside the crazy Jeff Bezos' $180 million mansion in Beverly Hills State. Watch until the end of the video because we are going to reveal something you. The national housing market has cooled, but in Los Angeles the ultra-rich are still shattering price records. An heiress to the Formula One racing empire sold her home for $119.75 million last July. In December, Lachlan Murdoch paid $150 million for a home in Bel Air. The latest buyer at the top. Jeff Bezos, the Amazon chief and world's richest person. Setting a new high for a home sold in California, Mr. Bezos is paying $180 million for a Beverly Hills estate owned by David Geffen, the media mogul and co-founder of DreamWorks, according to two people familiar with the purchase. That wasn't all. In a separate transaction, Bezos Expeditions, which oversees the Washington Post and Mr. Bezos Charitable Foundation, is buying 120 undeveloped acres in Beverly Hills for $90 million, the two people said. The land was put on the market for $150 million in 2018 by the estate of Paul Allen, the Microsoft co-founder, who died that year. Most recently, the asking price was $110 million. Both deals are in the contract stage and not yet final. The super-rich are spending huge amounts for some of California's premier properties. Mr. Murdoch, chief executive of the Fox Corporation, bought Chartwell, which TV viewers of a certain age may remember as the Clampetts home and the Beverly Hillbillies. Petra Ecclestone, whose father, Bernie Ecclestone, ran Formula One for more than 40 years, sold the manor. The television producer Aaron Spelling had built the mansion in the city's Holmby Hills neighborhood in 1988. For Mr. Bezos, it was the Warner estate, which was designed in the 1930s for Jack Warner, the president of the Warner Bros. Film studio. The roughly 13,000 square foot home is considered one of the premier mansions built during Hollywood's golden era. It wasn't the first home Warner built on the 9-acre property. When he married his second wife, Anne, she demanded that he tear down the first home and replace it with a new one, according to the legendary estates of Beverly Hills by Jeffrey Hyland, a longtime luxury real estate agent in Los Angeles. Warner spent over a decade building the mansion and, unlike other movie moguls of the era, didn't give it a fancy name to emulate European aristocracy. He simply named it after himself. The Georgian Revival-style estate was designed for hosting the Warners' elaborate parties, with guests like Albert Einstein and Howard Hughes. The property also included a 9-hole golf course, which Mr. Geffen removed when he renovated the grounds, Mr. Hyland said in an interview. A home next door also had a 9-hole course, allowing the Warners and their neighbors to play 18 holes right in the middle of Beverly Hills. Warner died in 1978, but Ann Warner kept the estate largely intact and lived there until 1990, when Mr. Geffen paid $47.5 million for it, a record at the time for a Los Angeles area home. Mr. Geffen recently bought a $30 million lot in the Trousdale Estates section of Beverly Hills, where he plans to build a new house, according to a source familiar with that deal. The Warner estate never officially hit the market, but one of the people familiar with the deal said it had been shopped around quietly for $225 million. The Warner estate, whose sale to Mr. Bezos was reported earlier by the Wall Street Journal, stands out from the speculatively built glass box homes that have flooded the local market. The 13,600 square foot mansion has gardens, 3 hothouses, 2 guest houses, a tennis court, swimming pool and a golf course, according to Architectural Digest. Inside? It's not what you would call cozy. It's a grand, some say pretentious, an exercise in excess and overkill. It's the house for an egotistical wealthy man like Jack Warner or David Geffen or indeed Jeff Bezos. Reportedly, Jeff and Lauren plan to call it home. It's an easy chauffeur-driven commute for her into Los Angeles Hollywood if she hosts The View or for her regular appearances of KTTV Fox 11. And if Jeff fancies a trip to check on things at Amazon in Washington state, Lauren's pilot's license will come in handy. While there, Lauren and Jeff probably won't be seeing much of Lauren's ex-bestie, Mackenzie Bezos. We wonder why? The house is largely in the Art Deco style. On the inside, it comes complete with a media room and a huge bar that has room for a crowd and a half. And you could just about play a game of football in the mammoth dining room. With its recessed alcoves, crystal chandelier, Chinese wallpaper, and Art Deco-style patterned parquet floor, the room is more than a little intimidating. Where else could you have intimate little dinner parties for 20? If Lauren and Jeff sit at the head of the opposite ends, they would need megaphones to communicate. By comparison, the huge beamed living room with its view of the grounds is very cozy. It's one of the homiest rooms in the house, a comfortable, inviting place to hang out and have a drink and watch a little TV. And we can totally see Lauren and Jeff in there watching a rom-com on Amazon Prime or cozying up for romantic candlelit dinners. Yes, the once modest billionaire has gone Hollywood in a big way. And all for the love of Lauren Sanchez. Bezos already owns a sprawl of homes across the country and is the 25th largest landowner in the US, according to the Land Report. Bezos' other homes include over 10 acres in Medina, Washington, 2 other houses in Beverly Hills, a Washington, D.C. former museum, 4 apartments and Art Deco tower on Manhattan's Central Park West, and more than 300,000 acres in West Texas, according to the Wall Street Journal. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button to not miss more videos like this. Comment down below if you would live in this house if you had money to buy it. See you on the next